Welcome to the App Showcase, where we review Microsoft-related apps primarily from the App Store. In support of our customers' need to do market research on apps such as these, SV MacPack started recording our review of these apps. We're a certified veteran-owned and HUBZone consulting firm supporting the U.S. federal government, but we hope these reviews help you as well. In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Leave Calendar from DevCore. It's an app off the Microsoft App Store. As always, I'll move fast, pointing out what I like and what would make me hesitate to recommend the app to my customers. My goal is to just be as candid as I would be talking to my own team about this app. Hopefully, the review helps you and perhaps even provides good feedback to the publisher of this app. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we do is go to the Microsoft App Store to the page for this app. I'll zoom in a little bit here, try to maximize what we're seeing. I like to start on the left-hand side and work my way down. It's nice you can get a free trial and check this out yourself, but it's not a free app. It is $14.99, just letting you know about that. It's got 5 stars. That's pretty good with 10 ratings. And if you click on the 10, we're able to see the reviews that it got. Looks like people liked it, and this is in 2017. That's interesting. They're so close to each other, but I'm assuming folks just kind of dropped it down. Anyways, let's keep looking at this here, and we'll come back to the overview. Let me zoom this back in so it's best for you. Coming down here, you can see that it looks like they did some version enhancements, other builds after the first build, which is great. It means they worked on it, probably found some bugs. Looks like it's almost 2 years old since the last time they updated it, but it looks like it might be a good app. Certainly should work on the current versions of SharePoint. As we look at the second column, I'm not going to read all this text to you, but the gist of it is that it's, just like it says, it's a leave calendar. So all the different reasons people might take time off, they're trying to enable a way for you to be able to do it. It's got an approval process in there. You'll notice as we go in and do the demo that this is built off of a out-of-the-box list that already has the approval, and so they just configure that use of it, which is perfect. It's my favorite thing for developers to do is to actually use what Microsoft has already developed and make it better rather than recreating what they did. And so that's exactly what these guys did. Here it's talking about you can customize the needs, and what that means is that you can add as many leave types because there's no restriction on the number of types of leave you can add. There's a typical 3, 4, 5 of them, but you can add 10 or 20 if you wanted. That's pretty good. Approval email, that again comes from the out-of-the-box activity. It does come with 2 web parts, and so we'll explore that to see how it displays the calendar. That'll be really interesting to see. I haven't seen that. Calendar view is what we're going to see. That's just seeing all your items. And then it just lists out the other functionality, a lot of different functionality. And I'm not going to really talk about it here because we'll go into the tool and look at it. Last thing I want to do is just take a look at the images they throw on here. So this first image, you can see they're just showing us that you can see their calendar, and you can see that the calendar can be color-coded depending on events is what that really looks like. The next thing here is they're trying to show that you can choose one of the many sick leave types, or leave types that you have. For example, in this case, sick leave, and I just want to see the people on sick leave. So there you're seeing that. This next one is really cool. It's showing the email settings, and so you have automatic approval emails that go out. And they show how they're configured within a SharePoint out-of-the-box list, and then the tool is just referencing that list. I really like that ease of configuration that puts it right back in the user hands. This next image shows, okay, so this is a list where you're putting in the types of leaves. So you can just keep adding all the items you want. You can determine whether it requires approval or not, and then you can add the color as you go along. And this last one is just showing what it's like when you are choosing a leave and the date, etc., for the person. So let's go ahead and take a look at this tool. First, I'm going to zoom back out a little bit to there so I can come back to that page. Okay, so I'm in the SharePoint site. I have a lot of these calendars loaded that I'm demoing, but the one we want to see today is the leave calendar. We'll click on that. Remember, this is not training. This is the reason I'm going fast is because it's just a quick overview for us to determine whether we like or don't like this app enough to move it forward. Okay, so the first thing I see is that this is definitely an add-in, so it's one of those apps that just destroys the sweep bar. One of the things I've seen recently that I wish developers would do is there's a way to kind of hide the sweep bar, and so as long as the sweep bar is all brutalized like this, we might as well hide it a little bit. I like to recommend that to any of the publishers paying attention. So in here, I got a little confused, but actually it turns out they're using the quick launch, which is nice, to run their calendar. So they're taking advantage of out-of-the-box functionality rather than build all that capability on their own on the page. So I'm just going to try to cruise around and see what we see. And the important thing is that it's intuitive. So the first thing I'm looking at is, really I'm just looking at the calendar and I'm trying to figure it out. And I realize that it's 1 day or 1 week, week 7, and it's going across. Oh, that's hilarious too. And it also is, so it looks like we got to figure out how that is configured, because if you notice the date, it says 11/2, and that really means February 11th, but in the States, that's not how we display the information. So I'm going to see if there's anywhere I can configure that. But anyways, so I'm seeing a week here. If I click on a day, there we see that, and we see the date is over here, February 16th on Friday. And so if we look at the month, okay, so this is all pretty intuitive here as we see it. We can go from month to month. I'm in February, March. It's pretty intuitive. If we move forward and I'm on April, I can click this Today button. Takes me back to today. All good basic functionality we're looking for. I'm not really going to come to these guys. These are clearly filters, but I don't have anything in here yet, so I'm going to try to add some stuff. And over here on the right-hand side, I see an Add button. And actually, it would be nice if I could hover above the date and hit Add. But certainly, I think this Add button should be farther over to the left and just make it all easier to find. But I am going to try to just click on a date and see if anything happens. No. Okay, which is, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But so I'm going to click on the Add button. You see our item here. I don't know if I can zoom in. There you go. So in here, I can choose my leave type, and I'm going to say parental leave, because this is such a popular thing in the States. And so the date, I've already, oh, that's interesting. This is interesting. I'm on the 20th. That's the date I selected, but it's setting the meeting for the 19th. That's just a little, I consider that a bug. It should either be on the 20th, which is the one I have highlighted, or the 16th, which is today's date. So anyways, let me change this to the 20th. And it's automatically pulling, so this is a people picker list on who's in the meeting, and it looks like I could probably add in, like, it's looking for my 365 evangelist. See, it's a people picker. You just type in whoever you want to be in the meeting. Let's put a description here. Test meeting of the leave calendar. And then I'm going to hit add. And let me add a couple more here. I got to shrink. See, shrink down here and add another one. So this, it's interesting. If you choose a date, and I don't know if you're seeing that for developers. I'm not quite sure what these lines are that are showing up, but I'm assuming that's a bug. And because I do a lot of this stuff, I rarely see this on any of my other, I mean, not rarely, I've never seen this before. So I'm attributing it only to this app. So that's something for them to keep in mind. But this is a bug. You see this date, I just chose a new one. I did not have a date selected, so it chose today, the 16th, and then it backdated it a day. I don't know why it's doing that, but it's not the end of the world, but it definitely is a bug. So let's just choose the 22nd. Oh, okay, and so it's not choosing time or anything since I'm saying it's the day off. Here's another thing. This is interesting. It looks like it's saved. Wait a minute. That is really interesting. I'm going to refresh my screen really quick because I don't know if you noticed, I created that event that is, went to the wrong month. So there's my event, right? I created that with you guys. And now I'm going to click add again. And watch, so we're back to the 15th. Let me choose this date. I'm going to choose the 22nd. And so you got the vacation. Now I'm going to choose 365 again. There's my other test account. And then heading out to Ireland for a bit. I'm going to hit add. And when I hit add, it puts it in there. It's nice that my vacation is green for Ireland, but I think it's green for vacation. But when I hit add again, this time it saves it all. And I don't know if that's I'm positive that's a feature. So now I'm just trying to decide whether it's one I like or not. But it's not the end of the world. But I do think this part where it keeps the information, that part shouldn't really be there. But let me close that. You'll notice, though, that I did it again. And here's the dashed lines. So that's a bug. You have to decide whether you're okay with it or not. These guys, this app is several years old. So if they're willing to fix some of the bugs, that might be not a problem. They can adjust it. What I want to do, though, is come in, pick a different color. I like this sick child leave. Strep has hit the house. And this would be on today. Well, let's just plan for strep out on 19th. No one plans for it, but okay. So I save it. Oh, that's interesting. It's using the same colors. So now I wanted to pause for a second and just look at the last thing that I saw on when you enter a new item. And that's kind of an interesting thing. My calendar disappears as I drag it up. It's not sitting on top of the, oh, that's interesting. So it's not sitting on top of the overall page. It's inside of the window. I don't actually care. I don't know if that's bad development or good development. I don't really care too much about it. Let me choose one last one. So sick listed. I have no idea what that means, but it has been determined I am too sick to stay. Someone else has told me, Neil, go home. And worse than that, they're telling me that on the 27th, which is a way from now. So let's go ahead and add that guy. Oh, I was having so much fun. I forgot what I was doing. I'm going to double click on it. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me back up. It doesn't default to today. That's something else I'd like the calendar to do, but it doesn't do that. Let's add one more in here. And I did 6, so let's do this guy. Leave all this the same, but we'll pick the date, which is the 28th. What I wanted to do, though, is before I hit add, I wanted to hit more options and see what happens. So the first thing that happened, and I hate this, I don't know if you noticed, but I had filled all my information out. I clicked more options, and it erased all my information. That's not a good thing. So what it did is took me to the default out-of-the-box calendar item, new item for this. So here I'm typing it in. There's Neil. See, this has got the time. So this, they didn't really work on this form. So February 28th. 28. I'm out of here. Okay, so then they're just taking us in. This is interesting. So this is not really cleaned up. They need to clean this up because a user shouldn't be able to get to this, frankly, because it's not part of the real tool that they want. But like I said, I also don't like the fact that you could fill out this information, hit more option, and it erases the information. Let's go ahead and go back to month so I can see my stuff. So there you go. I got a bunch of different events. The first thing I can do is come back. I just want to show this really quick. We've got the leave. Right now I'm seeing all the calendars. I can turn them off and say I only want to see vacations, who's on vacation. And now I'm able to see a calendar with just the vacation calendar. I don't really need to see the sick stuff unless I want to find out where are people. And I might actually do it this way, where instead of seeing the vacation, now I'm seeing the sick calendar, who's in, who's out, etc. So I'll go back and select all the calendars. We're good to go there. So that's the demo of the adding. Oh, we did the person. Let's choose the person. So the interesting thing here is this must be who created it. Because I added somebody. Let me add one more. I'll add this to the 26th. And we'll leave it as a vacation. And then let's get rid of me and put my other test user and see if it adds it in. Okay, so there's that. Now, theoretically, we would expect when you choose person, it shows you the options, but it doesn't. So this is not, unless they let me configure it, this is not a good filter, because this filter is only showing me the items by created by. But what if an administrative person or a colleague enters information for you? You're not really seeing it. We would expect to see Neil's, sick days or something, or Neil's vacations. Okay, let's see what we got over here. So on the left-hand side, we got our menu. I'll zoom in so you can see it a little better. And so some of these, as we move forward, let's go ahead and click on this first one and see what we got. Okay, so when you click on the first one, it's just showing our calendar, but by list view. So if you wanted to see everything, there you go. If you click on awaiting approval, you see these two that are out there. I see vacation is set to be approved. I wonder if it'll let me approve this. Approve, reject. I just right-clicked on it to approve it. I'm going to go ahead and approve it, say OK. Should refresh. There you go. That's good. So that's what those are. If we go back to the calendar, the interesting thing is it might have been nice for this calendar to show whether it's, oh, it is. I was going to say it should show us whether it's pending or not. And so here you see the stripes. That's pretty neat. That's how they're showing whether it's pending or approved. So, so something I was going to say they should have, they do have. All right. I just checked that person drop down to see if maybe once it's approved it would have shown up, but no. All right, so we looked at those two. Let's look at the settings. So the leave options. The leave options where we get the color. So we can add a new item. Leave golf. Needs no approval. Good. The color can be anything we want it to be. So let's make it have our bright yellow, like the sunshine. And then email CC address looks like you're putting in you're able to copy who should be able to be notified. I'm not going to put anybody right now. So there you go. We just added that. Let's go back to our calendar, see if it's that easy to add a new item. Go back, make that a month. So I want to go, there you go, golf, and I want to go on the 21st. And man, work is tough. Guess I should have said client meeting. There you go. So the golf shows up. Turns out they should not let me choose any color I want without changing the color of the text. That would be something good. Actually, something that might be nice here, you see how they let you choose the color. It'd be cool if over here they just showed you what it would look like so you could see that it's not going to look good, and you should change the color to, the text color as well. Anyways, moving on. You got the email templates here on the left-hand side. Okay, so this is the part that if an email went out, this is where you can configure what the email is saying. I don't know if you're tracking all of this, and let me see if I can view the item. Okay, let me scroll in a bit. Okay, you notice that it's got a subject line, so you can change this if you want. Leave request awaiting your approval. And then the body is what gets put into the email, and they're pulling the link to the item we created, or the link to the item, the link to the overall calendar, and then here you're getting the two fields that relate to it. So, and this must be the date that it is requested for. And then it just has some other basic information. That's pretty good. I'm not going to spend a long time, but that allows you to configure the email templates. And then approval. Okay, so this is part of the part I was talking about. So inside of the list settings that they're using, the calendar settings, they did a good job where they just got rid of everything else, and they're showing only the part that matters for content approval in here. And so right now you see that it says yes, and you can just choose how they want to be able to do it. That is an interesting approach. It's certainly a version 1 type approach. I don't mind it. I mind it in a version that costs me money. If I'm paying for the app, they should make that a little bit more crazy. I did not know what happened there, so let's go ahead and take a look at that one more time. I clicked on approval, and then that's there. So all I did was click on cancel. I should come right back to the calendar, right? I hit cancel once. Nothing happened. I'm going to hit cancel a second time. Yeah, there's a bug, publisher. It sent me back to some random email item that I was looking at. All right, let's get back to the calendar. That was approval. The last one is languages. Yeehaw. Okay, it looks like they let you use this tool for every single language that's out there. That's all just SharePoint out of the box type stuff. So I'm not going into that since I'm not demoing that. They do have a pretty cool support page here. And I was curious about the department because I haven't seen anything. Oh, that's interesting. This is Swedish and English. So we see where the app was made, which is cool. I mean, people are making apps all over the world. So here it tells us how to be able to use the email templates and the filters. Okay, so this one, let me scroll in. Okay, so they must have a department set on their profile. So this is not a good thing. And let me tell you why, for those of you just trying to track this, in my opinion here, is that they have a department here, right? But the only way that department would be useful is if the organization is keeping the Active Directory up to date with all that information, and people move back and forth. It just gets out of date fast. With all the custom settings you were letting me do right here on the list, they should have just created an item that when you hit add and you're doing this, you just add in the department. Take 2 seconds, I've dropped down, but then it's clean, because most times I find, I know I might get, trolled about this, but the reality is I don't find AD is kept up to date that often. So, all right, well, I think we've looked at everything that's in here for this calendar, and this was the Leave Calendar by DevCore. So as a recap, I'm going to recommend you download the app for more thorough evaluation within your organization. I think it's a pretty cool little leave calendar. It's only $15. If you want something really fancy, well, you can use this as a starter to really understand your requirements and then pay some money to have something built. But otherwise, it's a handy little calendar that lets people communicate their sick leave or leave to each other. I hope you found this review useful as you evaluate various apps available to you and your organization. Please provide me with feedback in the comments. Let me know how I can make the app showcase or these reviews more useful to you. Feel free to even suggest apps we should review, and we'll work to get them in the schedule. Finally, if you found this review helpful, please share a note about it on one of the social media platforms or just give it a thumbs up. I'm Neil McDonald, your host with SV MacPack. I thank you for joining me today and hope you'll join me again for other reviews.